Hello, my name is James, and I am on a mission to create a generation of gentlemen. First off, I want to thank you for taking this important step along your journey to attend today's masterclass and today's video. I've got a lot of valuable information to share with you today. So we've got a lot to cover. Let's just get straight into it, okay? Now, in this masterclass, you're going to learn how to establish the fundamental habits and discipline of a modern gentleman without relying on willpower, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, or turning your life into a boring schedule. I'm going to show you how to improve your confidence and communication skills without repeating cheesy affirmations in the mirror, without faking it till you make it, or trying the same tired techniques everybody read in How to Win Friends and Influence People. And finally, we're going to learn about the dating myths and misunderstandings that have been holding you back, how to attract high-value women, and for the guys that are already in relationships, how to hold a masculine frame so that she continues to respect you, see you as a leader, and you can build a strong partnership that's built on love and loyalty. The information that I'm going to share with you today has never been more valuable because men today are going through a unique set of challenges, and regardless of your age or where you live in the world, I'm sure you can relate to at least one of these. Men today are incredibly socially isolated. Only 27% of men have a solid group of 6 close friends. We are in the age of fatherlessness. Nearly half of men grew up without a strong male role model to learn from. And it's important to remember that this is the first time in human history where a significant proportion of the male population is growing up without a dad. Before World War II, this almost never happened. Maybe it's no wonder, therefore, that we are in a men's mental health crisis. 1 in 10 men experience depression or anxiety, and men die by suicide at 3 to 4 times the rate of women. Our relationship struggles are pretty high on the list of problems men are facing today. 63% of men under 30 are without a romantic relationship, as compared to 34% of women. And these are often very good-looking, decent guys with good jobs, decent social skills, yet they are struggling to find love. In terms of physical decline, the male population has almost never been in a worse state. 39% of men are obese, 20% of men aged 15 to 39 are testosterone deficient. And given all of that, it's no wonder so many men today struggle with confidence. Only 42% of men feel confident in their ability to do their job, and only 45% of men believe others generally like them. At the same time, there are so many new distractions and temptations today that are robbing men of their potential. These include pornography, video games, cannabis, alcohol, gambling, social media scrolling, all of which are made worse because they are highly addictive. The average young man spends 186 minutes a day on social media. Porn users are twice as likely to report depressive symptoms compared to non-users, and the average male gamer spends 7 to 12 hours per week gaming. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, here's where it gets worse. When men begin to look for answers and seek a better version of themselves, they're faced with lies on every front, right? Society tells them that their masculinity, their strength is toxic and shameful. It encourages men to be more in touch with their feelings and vulnerability and to set their expectations in life lower. Men are pushed to seek comfort and escape instead of true purpose. And society ignores many of the fundamental differences between men and women, and obviously this leaves men feeling disconnected from their masculine potential. Meanwhile, we've got online influencers like Andrew Tate teaching men to blame women for everything, telling men that their worth is based solely on the size of their bank balance or their muscles, and this is leading men to build shallow lives that are devoid of deeper meaning, fulfillment, and love. And then, worst of all, we've got the dangerous black pill. Now, this is a community, if you're not aware, of very disillusioned young men. It promotes the idea that trying to improve as a man, whether it's socially improving, romantically, or in your career, is pointless. And now, among all of the lies, among all of the noise, the idea of a gentleman is needed more than ever. The gentleman is strong, both physically and mentally, yet he's not afraid to show kindness and empathy. He lives to serve others and his community more than himself. He's not a pushover for women, yet he has the communication skills and he has the emotional depth to have a successful dating life and then build a meaningful long-term relationship and marriage. Now, the gentleman neglects modern vices like video games and porn for pursuits that have a holistic, well-rounded life. Now, he's sophisticated and refined, but he doesn't lose that ruggedness and that toughness that make him a man. The gentleman is highly disciplined in the habits that create a healthy, productive lifestyle. He feels confident in every social situation. He navigates conversations with ease and wit. He's able to gather around him a very solid group of like-minded male friends and win the affection and love of women. Now, if you're watching this masterclass, I'm sure the idea of being a gentleman is already highly appealing to you, and you may feel like you're already on the path to becoming one. Maybe you already are. But wherever you are on your journey, keep watching because what you will learn today will massively help. Now, you might think it's easy for a guy like me, who is fairly good looking and has a British accent, to talk about why men need to be more like gentlemen today. But the truth is, the man talking to you today is the result of many years of focused self-improvement, and I'm still very much on the journey to embody that classic gentleman. Now, I did not go to an expensive private school like Eton. My family does not come from money. My dad, God bless him, didn't teach me how to dress. And building strong discipline, building healthy habits was something I had to work out for myself. In fact, I used to look like this. I was a long-haired guitar player in a heavy metal band who would sleep in all day, work odd jobs for $10 an hour, and believe me, I received very little interest from high-quality women. Let me tell you about a few things on my journey so far that really changed that trajectory. So my first moment of realization that I could be more, that I could do more, that came when Jordan Peterson released his first book, 12 Rules for Life. Now, I bought it after watching that infamous Kathy Newman interview, and I began implementing some of the very simple strategies like making my bed in the morning, eating a better diet, and dressing well. Now, my levels of self-respect and productivity began to rise. I definitely started feeling more like a man. And then over the next few years, I began to really reinvent myself. I moved from the UK to the US. I became obsessed with the 1950s and 60s era of old Hollywood. There's figures like Sean Connery, Cary Grant, Gary Cooper, even JFK. Those guys embodied what I would later go on to describe as classic masculinity. And in my own life, I overhauled my wardrobe. I began embracing timeless pieces like button-down shirts, blazers, loafers, and I noticed a huge difference in the way that people treated me. At the age of 25, I launched my YouTube channel, Gent Z, to share my love of classic style, gentlemanly dating, etiquette. It was a pure passion project. I had no idea that so many men would resonate with the ideas that I was sharing. And as I continued to make more videos, my own knowledge and experience grew. I didn't start this project as a know-it-all or a guru. Gent Z is really about sharing my personal growth and then my personal journey with you. Now, skip forward 18 months. My videos have been watched by over 30 million men across the world. I've had the pleasure of meeting my idols, like Jordan Peterson. That was a really cool full circle moment for me. And the mainstream media has even picked up on this movement of men embracing classic masculinity and gentlemanly values. I've recently been featured in the Wall Street Journal, and I recently made an appearance on Fox News. And earlier in 2025, I launched the Gentleman's Institution. This is a place where men who have had enough of just watching my videos and are ready to make a real change can come to learn from me, receive my personal mentorship, but most importantly, connect with other men on the same journey, forming accountability partnerships, even real-life friendships. And the community that we've built is unlike anything else, and it is the exact antidote to the problems of loneliness, isolation, and apathy that have affected so many young men, including my younger self. Now, today, my life has never been more fulfilling. I've stacked dozens of healthy habits that give me a powerful sense of self-respect and accomplishment every day. I have a clear vision for the future life I want, and I'm working hard to make that future a reality. I feel 100% confident in new social situations, striking up conversations with strangers, and turning small talk into deep talk. And best of all, I have a solid group of like-minded friends that I know I can call on at any time. I enjoy a fruitful dating life in my new home city of Chicago. I'm meeting many beautiful women and sharing some fantastic experiences. Now, I don't tell you this to brag, but just to share what's possible when you apply yourself to making a positive change and you use the idea of the modern gentleman as your North Star on your self-improvement journey. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing the process of building positive habits, confidence, connections. Now, the Gentleman's Institution is the culmination of the thousands of hours that I and the other men involved have personally invested to be the ultimate resource and community for an aspiring modern gentleman. Everything we're going to cover today is just a glimpse of the whole journey that obviously I can't squeeze into a 40-minute or so masterclass, but if you find this masterclass helpful today, there's something way better waiting for you at the end, so do stick around. Now let's get right into the main body of today's masterclass, and we are going to start with really the foundation of every modern gentleman, which is his habits and discipline. Now, if you've ever thought any of these things, you're in the right place. Maybe you think you know what to do, but you just can't stick with it. Maybe you're looking for the right time to start. Maybe you want to feel more motivated. Maybe you don't like the idea of discipline. Maybe you see it as a trap. Maybe you don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. Or maybe you're sick of not seeing results or just failing time and time again and feeling like all hope is lost. Now, I hear these types of things all of the time, so I completely understand. But the truth is, discipline is not about waking up at 5 a.m. It's not about taking cold showers or making yourself do anything that you don't want to do. Those ideas are honestly quite outdated and just not realistic or not even the most beneficial approach for 99% of guys. However, most men get stuck in the same old habits, bad habits. They fail to build positive momentum for a few reasons, right? They try relying on sheer willpower, motivation, determination, which always have their natural highs and lows. Maybe they have an unrealistic or generic idea of what good habits are, even if they don't really make any sense to them. They don't understand that most success actually comes in the preparation, not the execution. Or perhaps you're trying to make these changes at a time where you have no external accountability, no positive environment to keep you going. Now, true discipline simply gives you the freedom to build the life that you want, and that life is totally up to you. So there is a much better way to look at discipline, and that's what we're going to work through. First, you need to establish a clearer vision for the life you want. This can involve writing down goals in a journal. It can involve getting creative, making a vision board, because if you don't know where you're going, how can you expect to figure out the route? And this is where most men get stuck, because they focus on the surface habits, doing the same thing as everyone else taught them, but without really a solid reason behind them. Now, some habits, like eating healthy, waking up early, they will be beneficial to the majority of men, but you need to become far more specific and personal. For example, what diet will you follow? What exact meals? What times of eating? Meal prep? What time will you wake up? Why are you waking up at that time? What method will you use to wake you up? What will you do immediately after waking up? What time will you go to bed, right? You see? Now, step 2 is to set up your environment for success. having the right environment and preparation is much more effective than relying on sheer willpower to drag you through. For example, I'm a full-time influencer, yet I don't go on social media in the morning. In fact, I normally don't even look at my phone until 2 to 3 hours after waking up. And that's only when I've completed my workout, had a healthy breakfast, got showered and dressed for the day. Now, how am I able to do this? How am I able to stay off my phone and social media? It's not because my willpower is stronger than yours. It's because I deliberately keep my phone as far away from my bed as I can. I use a separate alarm clock, and I simply leave the phone off and don't take it with me to the gym. So in the morning, there's no cue, there's no trigger for me to pick up my phone. There's no temptation. I've set up the environment for success. So it's actually easier for me to avoid scrolling than it would be to pick it up and start scrolling. Now, the third step is to make your positive habits as attractive as they can possibly be. An easy way to do this is to combine a habit that you don't enjoy as much, but you know is good for you, with something that you do enjoy. For example, if you need to lose weight, but you spend too much time playing video games, buy a stationary bike. Set a new agreement with yourself that you will only play video games when bicycling. And that way you look forward to doing cardio because you associate it with something you find fun and immediately rewarding, like playing video games. Now, for me, this involves a system of rewards that make me excited to complete my positive habits. I don't always want to wake up at 6:30 a.m. and go lift weights. So I reward myself after doing this by having my coffee outside with a little biscotti cookie, which is always one of my favorite moments of the day that I look forward to. And best of all, I feel like I've earned that treat. Now, the fourth and probably the most impactful change you can make long term to make a habit or not doing a habit stick around is to make it part of your identity. There's a big difference between somebody who says, I'm trying to quit watching porn, or somebody who says, I do not watch porn. Which one of these two people do you think is the most likely to slip into bad habits? And when I gave up alcohol for 6 months, I told people, I don't drink. I am sober. I made it part of my identity with no ifs and no buts. And I also researched role models of famous men that I already admired who didn't drink. So not drinking, therefore, became part of my identity, and it became a step on the journey to becoming the kind of man I would admire. And this is why I encourage men to seek role models, even as an adult. It could be somebody from history, like Winston Churchill, Ronald Reagan, Teddy Roosevelt, or it could even be a fictional character like James Bond. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. I understand that if confidence was as simple as repeating affirmations, faking it till you make it, or simply trying not to care about what others think, no man would be struggling with confidence today. And from my experience working with the men in the Gentleman's Institution over the last few months, I've heard the same thing time and time again. At the beginning of your journey, you may struggle with both your habits and discipline and social confidence and self-esteem. But the truth is, you actually become confident by showing up for yourself every day, just as you said you would. Now, imagine if you had a friend who told you he was going to come to the gym with you in the morning at 8 o'clock. So day one, you arrive at the gym just before 8. You've got your workout clothes on, you're ready, you've got your bottle of water in your hand. And then it gets to 8:05 and he's nowhere in sight. 8:10, still nothing. 8:15, you're starting to get annoyed. You give him a call, voicemail, you call him back again, it goes to voicemail again. So you just go, screw it, I'm going to go do my workout alone. And then as soon as you leave the gym around 9 o'clock, your friend texts you and he says, sorry, I missed the gym. I overslept, my alarm didn't go off, but I'll meet you tomorrow at 8 to work out together again. How confident would you be that he will be there on time tomorrow? Not very confident, right? And ultimately, confidence is simply our levels of belief in someone, including ourselves. Now, demonstrating self-respect with your habits, with your way of presenting yourself, is actually the foundation of confidence. But You also need to practice in social situations because the less you do anything, the more foreign it feels and the more intimidating it will be. Conversation skills, social confidence, it's a muscle. And just like any muscle, it atrophies when you don't use it. And it gets stronger when you push it to its limits. So it's time to get those reps in, guys. Every day for an entire week, strike up one conversation with somebody new in a way that pushes you out of your comfort zone. And what that comfort zone will be depends entirely on your starting place. For some of you, it's going to be just talking to the barista at Starbucks, the checkout clerk at the grocery store. That might be pushing your boundaries, and that's okay if that's your starting place. If you already feel relatively socially confident, you may have to do something like cold approach a woman, start a conversation with a fellow passenger on the train or the bus. Now, for me, I gained more confidence by just getting into the habit of asking someone in the gym to spot for me. And this was especially tricky because most people today wear headphones when they work out, so I'd have to get their attention with my hands or make eye contact. Now, if you're not already leaving the house every single day, this needs to be a non-negotiable. If you work from home, take your laptop to a coffee shop, a co-working space, or just a public library. Stop ordering everything to your home and go and buy stuff. Go buy groceries, go buy clothes, go buy books. In the evenings, take yourself to a bar by yourself, have a cocktail, have dinner. Just being in public is really the first step. As Dr. Robert Glover told me, you have to become a social animal. Another crucial part to the life of a modern gentleman is building your network of friends and professional connections, and then also your ability to form romantic connections with high-value women. And even if you already have a girlfriend, or maybe you're even married, keep watching because we're going to discuss how to lead a relationship as a gentleman, how to make your relationship that blossoming partnership it ought to be. Now, here's the current situation. 15% of young men today have no close friends. 63% of young men under 30 are single. Sexual intimacy is at a 30-year low across both men and women. So today, men are lacking friendship, they're lacking love, and they're certainly lacking intimate connection. Now, I'm sure you can imagine how much better your life would be if you had a partner who was loyal, if she was supportive, she shares your values, she helps you become the best man that you can be. But meeting the right woman can seem nigh on impossible now. Now, I've helped a lot of men get back into the dating game, even land their first girlfriend after a very, very long dry spell. But when these men started working with me, the idea of being in a relationship again seemed a long way off. When I'd ask them about how their dating life had been going, the answer was that it was non-existent. And the truth is, a lot of men who are struggling with dating today are stuck in this kind of negative feedback loop. So when they put themselves out there, maybe with a dating app, they've experienced rejection or a lack of interest. And from that experience, they've learned not to put themselves out there again, not to focus on dating too much. And I used to suffer from having a very overly romantic attitude toward dating, and it definitely held me back for a long time. But as a result, women seem much more intimidating and much more confusing. And then, of course, that leads to a lack of confidence and social skills, which makes you much more likely to not be appealing to women and to be rejected. Now, when I had that stage in my life when I didn't go on a date for over a year, it's not a single date in over a year, I had this idea in my mind about how I would meet my future girlfriend, what she would look like, how she would solve all of my problems. But at the same time, I was making very little effort to put myself in situations where this spontaneous meeting that I was dreaming of could even happen. Now, when it comes to love, we have to accept that things are not how they used to be. As Amol Towles wrote in his fantastic novel, A Gentleman in Moscow, it's the nature of times to change, and it is the business of gentlemen to change with them. Now, before, many couples met at work. That's actually how my parents met. But not today. I mean, not only do 39% of people work from home, but also office romance have become quite taboo. they've become very risky to your career. And honestly, if my dad courted my mom the way he did back in 1989 today, he would get fired. Now, many couples used to meet through friends of friends. That's still possible, but with so many men lacking close friends, there is a lack of friends to meet. People are also getting married later and later in life. In the 1950s, the median age for a man to get married in America was 22 and a half. Now it's 30. So we have to accept the truth that finding love, finding marriage is no longer something that just happens out of the blue. It's no longer something that's just set up for us by friends or family. Instead, we have to make a concerted effort. Now, the good news is, the competition has never been lower if you know how to groom and dress yourself presentably, if you can be confident enough to strike up a conversation, if you can hold that conversation, be interested in her, if you can keep yourself in decent physical shape, if you can develop your emotional intellect, and especially if you can demonstrate some old-fashioned chivalry and romance. So that's the work that you have to do as a modern gentleman. But what about the woman? How do you know if she would make a good girlfriend, a good wife, a good mother to your children? Don't leave this to chance, gentlemen. Ideally, you want to have a clear picture of what qualities you desire in your future partner before you even meet her. And I recommend you write down 21 traits of your ideal future wife on a piece of paper. And there should be a range of physical attributes, personality traits, values, and also lifestyle alignment. Having these standards for your future partner will help you recognize it when you meet a woman that's suitable for you, and it will help you avoid getting strung along or just wasting your time with a woman who isn't a good match just because you don't want to be alone or you find her sexually attractive. Once you know whom you're looking for, then you can figure out where to find her. Now, this is highly personal. It's highly dependent on the traits that you have outlined. But just to help you out right here and right now, let's go over some typically good environments where you can meet women with good personal standards, good morals, good intellectual capacity. Church, members clubs like Soho House, luxury gyms, Lifetime, Equinox, cocktail bars, wine bars, independent coffee shops, bookstores, golf clubs, yes, seriously, golf clubs, and definitely activity groups, dancing groups, cooking classes, boxing gyms even. And, if these don't seem like the right fit for you, just think about your ideal partner and imagine where would she be hanging out. It's probably not a nightclub, probably not a Fortnite Discord or something like that either. Ultimately, you just need to be a more social animal if you want to meet more women, or if you want to meet more male friends for that matter. You don't need to change your personality. You don't need to do anything that you don't want to do. In fact, you just need to do the things that you like, but in a public setting where you are available and you are open to meeting new people. So even if your ideal day would be spent reading at home alone, instead go to an independent bookstore, pick up something new, or go to your library and take a book out, and then take it to your local coffee shop or to a wine bar to read. Instead of watching YouTube videos on cooking, improve your cooking skills at a cooking class. And rather than spend the entire time at the gym with your headphones on, be more aware and more open to your environment. Grab a protein shake, grab a smoothie after, and strike up a conversation. Now, what about the guys that are already in a relationship? What if you already have a wife? Maybe you even have kids. Well, when you're the head of the household, or even if you're still in the early stages of a relationship, you have to accept that you are now in a position of leadership. Your woman is looking to you to see what standards you set, not only for your partnership, but also for her, and most importantly for yourself. Because a lady can only respect a man as much as he can respect himself. How you conduct yourself day to day, how you steer the ship of your life together is everything. A man who neglects his body, neglects his physical health, his money, his intellect, his own social circle, he can never be certain of his relationship. Your woman will notice these deficiencies and she'll be turned off by them. And as gentlemen, we have to be intentional about the way that we show up in our relationships. The quality of time you give your partner is much more important than the quantity. And the same goes for the time you spend with your children. Ask yourself this: how much time do you spend with your girlfriend or your spouse a week? And during that time, what do you do? How would you rate the quality of that time out of 10? There's a big difference between telling a woman you love her and her feeling that you do. We all know that women are highly emotional creatures. Their feelings aren't always logical. But if a woman feels how much you love her, that didn't come out of nowhere. By the same token, if your partner is starting to feel disconnected from you, if she doesn't feel that love from you, there's also a reason behind that. And it's time to take responsibility. It's time to show up for her like a man. In centuries gone by, men would make grand gestures to win the love of the woman they admired. They would fight battles, they would slay beasts, they would make offerings of the finest jewels and furs. When you put it like that, planning a weekly date night, buying flowers, surprising her with a love letter, it doesn't seem like a whole lot to expect. Now, just as important as romantic love for a modern gentleman is the brotherhood and connections he shares with like-minded men. Every man ought to have a solid network of brothers that he can call on for support, men to have deep conversations with, to embark on challenges with, and to celebrate life's wins with. The idea of a loner in his mom's basement is really an outdated stereotype, because today, even many successful men who earn six figures, have a good physique, maybe they even have a wife and kids, they are desperately lacking in male friendships. And it's no surprise, because many of the social institutions that once offered an opportunity for men to connect, to do great things, they have now been eroded. The bowling leagues that were once a staple of American male social life have all but vanished. The organizations like Rotary Club, Lions, they have failed to attract young members, and they're no longer anywhere near as relevant as they used to be. Even the Boy Scouts is now co-ed, they now let in girls, so even young boys are without a safe space to discover their masculinity. Now, in 1990, 55% of US men reported having 6 or more close friends, but that has now dropped to just 27. And the percentage of men with 0 close friends, no close friends at all, that used to be 3% in 1990, but now it's 15. So that's a 5-fold increase over 3 decades. Okay, that's enough complaining. You already know the problem because you're living it every day. But what's the solution? The solution is that we rebuild the organizations and the activities that once created and strengthened male camaraderie and brotherhood. A great way to connect with other men is by engaging in social sports, to join a golf club, a boxing gym, a tennis league, or better yet, a rugby or a soccer team. You can also connect with other men based on their values by engaging more actively in your church community, starting a men's Bible study group, or joining a political organization. Now, if you want to join an already established network of men who share your gentlemanly values, who also care about becoming a better version of themselves, becoming more disciplined, confident, stylish, the cheat code is to join the Gentleman's Institution. And we have got men all over the world who are meeting up now, forming accountability partnerships, attending our exclusive social events. And the great thing is that every man who joins is on the same page. They are all serious about connecting with and improving themselves alongside like-minded guys. So if that sounds like a group you'd want to be a part of, wait around until the end of this video, because I do have a special invitation to join at a price that everyone can afford. Now, I know that many of you watch my videos to learn more about style, grooming, living a more gentlemanly lifestyle. So there's really no need for me to preach to the choir about the importance of personal presentation for a modern gentleman. You already understand that. So instead, let me just share a few valuable lessons with you. And even if you already consider yourself a very well-dressed man, stick around because you're definitely going to find this insightful. When men first develop an interest in dressing well, they will typically make a few mistakes, and I know I did. These include focusing on acquiring shirts, blazers, dress pants without really understanding that fit should come before everything. Often men will neglect the importance of their hairstyle, their grooming, and their physique, and then they'll wonder why they still don't look like James Bond. Men also struggle to make a more classic style work for their environment. And if you've ever felt self-conscious about dressing up in public, if you've ever been asked the dreaded, "Are you going to a wedding?" you can probably relate to that last one. Now, you can dress like a modern gentleman in jeans and a polo shirt. Just look at Daniel Craig. The way he dressed as James Bond in those movies offered a perfect example of elevated casual dressing. But Daniel Craig didn't just wear any old polo and chinos. Everything was tailored to fit him perfectly. The colors matched his skin tone and features, and his physique provided a great canvas. And very importantly, he was always perfectly groomed. What I'm about to say might shock you, but honestly, grooming is more important than style. If you want to get taken seriously in your career, have other men want to be around you, be attractive to women, appearing clean, being hygienic, well-maintained is so much more important than doing a good Windsor knot or having side adjusters instead of belt loops. Grooming is really about routines and discipline, but you also need to learn some basics and, find a hairstyle that works for you, shaving products that work for you, and if necessary, a skincare routine to clear up your complexion. When it comes to style, there's really no need to overcomplicate things. Most men would benefit from using the capsule wardrobe system. This is a small closet of clothes containing around 30 pieces, including shoes. And because you don't have that many articles of clothing, it's a lot easier to make high-quality purchases. And you only focus on pieces that you love and that make you feel confident. And there's no excuse not to get every piece tailored so it fits you to perfection. So many guys I've helped with their style in the Gentleman's Institution have been amazed at just how easy dressing well can be when you keep things simple and when you follow just a few basic rules of fit, color, and formality. Now, if you have ever wished you could have a clear guide, a roadmap, a system to follow on your journey to level up as a modern gentleman, if you want consistent accountability to help you stick to your habits, to build unbreakable discipline, if you want to connect with more like-minded men who share your values and your goals, both online and in person, if you want to be a part of a movement that cares about gentlemanly values in today's world, and where being a gentleman is not only normal but encouraged, if you want to master the dating world or strengthen a relationship with a high-value feminine woman, and ultimately, if you know you were meant for more and you are ready to meet a new version of yourself that you are proud of, that is exactly why I created the Gentleman's Institution. It is the full modern gentleman journey from start to finish with the guidance, the support, and the network that you are currently missing. Now, inside the Gentleman's Institution, you'll have instant access to our private modern gentleman network, so you can connect with like-minded guys around the world and even in your city. We already have guys in the Gentleman's Institution who have formed accountability partnerships, accountability groups, and even in-person friendships. So you can also begin a 12-week comprehensive course covering habit building, dating, social confidence, networking, fitness, finances, and legacy. Plus, you will have the opportunity to join me and the rest of the men in the group every week, or actually twice a week, on a group call to share your progress, to seek guidance, and to get the support and the friendship you need. Now, you'll also get daily support from me because I am in there every single day to answer your questions, your DMs, to give you feedback on anything that you need. So if you found this masterclass valuable at all, just wait till you experience what it is like being a member of the Gentleman's Institution. This is the roadmap and the support system that I wish I had had when I began my journey all of those years ago. And inside the Gentleman's Institution, I've seen our men start their first ever businesses, get their first ever girlfriend, make new friends, even lose over 20 pounds. Because the truth is, putting yourself in the right environment is the most crucial step that you can take to achieve success. Now, in the New York Times bestseller, Atomic Habits, that's one of my favorite books, by the way, James Clear says, one of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where one, your desired behavior is the normal behavior, and two, you already have something in common with the group. He also said that remaining part of a group after achieving a goal is crucial to maintaining your habits. It's that friendship and community that embed a new identity and help those behaviors last over the long run. So I just want you to imagine what your life could look like if you dedicate yourself to this process. If you put yourself in the right environment. If you finally move away from all of the things that have been holding you back. And I'm so confident that you will love the transformation, that you will love the community and the support that you will experience, that I'm offering you the opportunity to just come on board today for just $1. That's right, just $1. So that means you can join now, you can begin your journey, you can start connecting with the other men. And if you don't notice a significant improvement in your habits, your connection with other men, your confidence, your style, whatever else it is that you want to work on, you can leave at any time. But the link in the description is there to get started. The future version of you, the life of connection, discipline, confidence, all of that is just one click away. So if you do decide to join, be sure to post inside the community to say hello, to introduce yourself, and I'm excited to meet you and begin working together.